spotlight for competition and growth. From the least commodity to the mega business conglomerate, from continental ventures to the global business, there's always a trade secret. Market Day is that platform that provides you all you need to take hold of open business opportunities in Liberia. Join LNTV Live every Wednesday at 2:05 p.m. for all the latest happenings in the Liberian economy. Market Day, the Liberian economy on one platform, beginning this October.
Some money as Coco Cross, tell me to know that it's the day now. Early morning, 5 o'clock, still me that long time on their way. Early morning, mama wakes me up for the market round. And my mama they call me by my name and say, oh, Saji Brano. And my mama they go to Raleigh Tamaki every morning. Just to make me at least have some color, just for living. And my man try to educate me for the better man Liberia. And my man working harder while me papa.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Market Day here on LNTV. Market Day is a program on which we bring you all of the happenings in the Liberia economy. My name is Jab Davis, and on this edition of the program, government employees without national identification number to start receiving salary allowance by January 2019. President Weah submits to the House of Representatives an act to amend the Revenue Code of Liberia. Commerce Ministry announces arrival of a consignment of purple rice in the country ahead of the festive season. Many plus this when we come back on the program. Please keep tuned. Let's take a bit of our theme song. We'll be right back after this very short break.
Some money as Coco Cross, tell me to know that it's the day now. Early morning, 5 o'clock, still me that long time on their way. Early morning, mama wakes me up for the market round. And my man they call me by my name and say, oh, Saji Brano.
Okay, so welcome back to Market Day here on LNTV. Let's now take some news. President George Manneh Weah has submitted to the plenary of the House of Representatives an act to amend the Revenue Code of Liberia, Phase 1 of the Reform Tax Code of Liberia, AD 2000. The President has also submitted the act incorporating the Liberia National Lotteries of 1983 for amendment. Following the reading of the communication, the bill relating to the Revenue and Customs was sent to the Committees on Ways, Means, Finance and Commerce for them to report in a period of 2 weeks. That's 1 week. Still with more presidential news, President Weah is calling on labor stakeholders in the country to find ways of harmonizing the inconsistency in the labor laws of Liberia. President Weah made a statement at the first ever labor conference which kicked off in Monrovia on Monday under the theme A Decent Workforce Under One Labor Law. Here is President George Weah.
Have you made in addressing the needs and rights of the former domestic and casual workers in the private sector, including the launching of the National Employment Policy and the centralization of labor union under the non-labor complex. I However, public sector employees are governed under the Civil Service Agency STEM order, where there is no recognition of the International Labour Organization. Subsequently, there is neither participation in any of its functions, nor compliance to its convention. This has not only deprived Liberian public servants of exercising some of their basic rights awarded under the Liberian Constitution, as well as the ILO.
We're also speaking at the opening of the Labour Conference. Labour Minister Moses Colley said the three-day gathering, which ends today, is expected to address key challenges facing the Liberia labour sector.
We are going to look at the end of this conference that Liberia, that the national development partners, the international partners, will discuss and conclude on addressing the ambiguities, harmonization, and amendment on all of the inconsistent labour laws, which will provide for the consideration of one labour law for the entire labour sector in Nigeria. Two, that this conference will conclude on new strategies for implementation of the Labour National Action Plan on child labour, trafficking in persons, HIV in the workplace, and the Decent Work Country Program. Three, that the national government partners, that is the Employers Association and the Employees Association and government, at the end of this conference, will reason together and agree on a new process of dialogue and negotiation as the best way in handling labor disputes, other than emotional dismissal, stress, and domination, and awareness. And finally, with the participation of our colleagues within the labour sector from the sub-region, there will be a new knowledge gained from shared approaches and best practices for a decent work environment within our individual countries in the sub-region.
That's Labour Minister Moses Colley speaking at the start of Liberia's first ever Labour Conference. That conference comes to an end today at the Monrovia City Hall. Well, in a bid to clear ghost names and illegitimate employees from government payroll, government through the National Identification Registry, the NIR, has announced that no government employee will receive salary or allowance without a national identification number beginning January 2019. The national identification number is contained in individual information on the biometric national identification card. Making a disclosure at a news conference Tuesday, National Identification Registry Executive Director J. Tia Nangbe said the move is to ensure that government payroll is clear from ghost names and illegitimate employees.
Today we can report that we have enrolled 37,752 employees on the government of Nigeria. The number of people represents about 50% of the estimated 75,000 people that work for the government of Nigeria. We have covered 79 institutions in the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of the government. And we have visited over 200 locations across all the 15 counties of Nigeria. As you know, we cannot carry on with this exercise forever because we have several other projects to undertake. Therefore, we have reached an agreement with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning to close this project for enrollment of government employees by December 31st of this year. This means that anyone who has not registered with the National Identification Registry and obtained a national identification number, will not receive salary or allowance payment from the government of Liberia beginning January of next year, which is 2019.
Well, all is not lost for legitimate government employees who haven't yet registered for the national identification number, as there is plan to have you register. And let's rejoin the executive director of the National Identification Registry.
To serve the remaining legitimate employees who did not register, we have made special arrangements. For employees who work in Montserrat County, including the headquarters of various government institutions, we have a team at the Monrovia City Hall that will serve you. That team has been there for several weeks now, and we have extended their stay until November 10th, after which that recruitment station will be closed. For those that work in the remaining 14 counties, our teams are making their second and final visits to over 120 locations across the country. From now to the 7th of December. After that date, government employees will only be able to register at their county capital cities for the rest of the month of December. Of course, we want to emphasize that the project will end on December 31st, 2018.
That's the executive director of the National Identification Registry, J. Nangbe. That's J. Tia Nangbe. Well, for his part, Liberia's Comptroller and Accountant General Jangako said government will ensure that through this process, its payroll has the highest degree of integrity.
For us, as Office of the Comptroller and Accountant General, we are responsible for processing of our government payments and government payroll. And as you may be aware, the government payroll process has been something that has been a cloud of suspicions when it comes to the issue of its validity, the number of employees from the agency to agency. So the NIR has embarked on the enrollment of government employees into the National Identification Scheme. And the government, beginning January, is partnering with the NIR to ensure that all employees of government on the payroll will have a national ID number. Beginning January, we are putting in place the mechanism to make sure that every employee of government will have a unique biometric national ID number that will be included on the government payroll. So we have come here today to join the executive director of the NIR to point out to the Liberian people that we are very serious to make sure that the issue of the payroll of the government of Liberia has the highest level of integrity.
Okay, that's Liberia's Comptroller and Accountant General Jangako. So if you are a government employee, then you have to rush and get your registration done, as the process will expire on December 31 of this year. Let's go to Plebo in Maryland County, where report says customers of EcoBank are threatening withdrawing their services with the bank due to poor customer service. The EcoBank customers, most of whom are ATM card users, complain of finding it difficult to withdraw money from their accounts due to constant report of system being down. Let's join our correspondent Josh Momo in Plebo, Maryland County.
You remember we reported a year or two ago that EcoBank withdrew services from Grand Gila County. That means they closed the bank branch in Grand Gila. And so you have only this branch here in Maryland. There was a branch in Harper, but then the Harper branch closed, leaving only the Plebo branch. And that branch is catering to Grand Gila, is catering to Sino, River G, Grand Crew, including Maryland. But then since the bank brought a new manager here, there have been activities ongoing, but of recent, customers, like you put it, over 100 of them have been complaining over the years, and they're saying they're impatient with this complaint that there is no solution. That has to do with some of them saying they've been paying the amount of $4 per month for this ATM service. Some of them are saying they yet to receive the ATM card, and over the weekend they jam, there is emergency where they will have to rush to to the bank using their ATM card to get money to settle some family problems. But it's been difficult whenever they approach the management continue to say to them things will be better. And so upon their complaint recently, we visited the office of the bank branch manager here in Maryland, Mr. Mama Bauer, and of course the guys told us that they did not close with the authority to speak to the media, but instead refer us to EcoBank headquarters in Monrovia, that which has been difficult for us. We were given the website of EcoBank and we went there, but it's been difficult to get contact number. But the customers are complaining that if nothing is done in a sooner possible time, they rather withdraw their customership from EcoBank if the management cannot address the issue of the ATM service to have them going to the bank when there is emergency to get money.
Josh Momo is our correspondent there in Maryland County. So EcoBank management, that's it. You need to double up your effort in order to ensure service delivery for the people there in Plebo, Maryland County. Well, that's how we will do it for our news segment here on the program. We are going to take a very short break, and when we return from the break, we go straight into discussion on this edition of the program, Market Day. Keep tuned. We'll be right back after this break. Okay, so welcome back to Market Day here on LNTV. We are live on your television every Wednesday, by this time bringing you all of the happenings in the Liberian economy. And as part of our discussion on the program today, we are playing host to Suleiman Jallo. Suleiman Jallo is the Secretary General of the Fula Business Association. As you know, Fulanese have always been involved with the Liberian economy, making all of the effort they can to help stabilize the Liberian economy. So we will be talking to the Secretary General of the Fula Business Association, Suleiman Jallow, who's our guest on the program today. Later on, as we always do on the program, you have questions, you have comments, you have recommendations. We will have, have your time to, have your say on the program. The program is Market Day, and we're here on LNTV. Welcome to Market Day, Mr. Jallow.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. David.
Okay, and we cannot divorce, the Fulanese whenever we discussing the Liberia economy, because there are so much investment from the Fulanese. They, run so much businesses in the country, and they play a big part in the Liberia economy. So we brought you on the program today to just, have an idea of exactly what's going on, tell us your own recommendations about the Liberia economy and other things, that we see as being hindrance to the Liberia economy. How can we do this to forge a better service for the Liberia economy? So once again, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm very happy to be here today to discuss issues concerning business in our country. As we've been in the advocacy for so long, I can say, we understand much of the problems we are facing. Government sometimes don't understand the problems we are facing, and we need to talk about them for them to know and for us to find solution. For example, Liberian-owned business are facing difficulties to grow because some challenges we are facing, sometimes with the government, sometimes with the bigger businesses. So these challenges is the access to market is very difficult for Liberian-owned business. They are suffer a lot during importation. So we need government to help us because we need incentive by right. But at the same time, what we understand, instead of getting incentive as a Liberian-owned business, we get penalized. And these penalties are embarrassing us a lot. We are very concerned for government to understand these penalties are suffering us, and we need adjustment. We need changes from them.
If you speak about being penalized, talking about penalties, what do you mean? Give us an idea of what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say here, they have a system and law here. For example, Liberian government engage BVAC to do pre-inspections. Meaning that when you are buying goods outside Liberia, any of the country around the world, you should contact BVAC and before you load the goods. I mean, you have to send your invoice to Liberia. They send it to BVAC, BVAC OKA, before you send it back, and call BVAC, and BVAC go inspect the goods before you load. They say if you fail to do that, meaning that you have to pay 10% for first offense, second offense, 10%, 20%, third, 30%, and how it will grow.
Is this difficult for business people to do?
Very, very difficult, because the simple reason I'm saying that, the challenges the local business have, for them to use BVAC, all the product they are buying, is difficult. It's good to use BVAC and easy to use BVAC when you buying directly from the factory. But because of financial challenges where local people are facing, local Liberian people are facing, they're not able to buy directly from the factory. And if I buy few goods from the market and my other friends buy from the market, putting these goods together and use BVAC is another challenge. Because for us to reach one container, it will take us time, sometimes for moving from one place to another place. But if you use in BVAC, they will not start loading here and go into another place. All the goods should be one place. Okay. And all the goods should be arranged in the pro forma invoice, which you send to Liberia, is prepared in Liberia and sent back to China. And the challenge is again the time for this. Okay. When you go to the market, local market, and buy all your goods, you pack it in the warehouse, you pay your hotel bill, and waiting for this thing to come to Liberia and being prepared through the Ministry of Commerce. From there you go to BVAC. Sometimes it give you 2 to 3 days. So before you send it back, When you send it back again, sometimes it takes 2 days before or to 3 days before they confirm that number from BVAC abroad.
So you are saying the maximum is how many days?
3 days in Monrovia to process that the pro forma invoice from the Ministry of Commerce to BVAC, and BVAC have to send number to abroad. Before the abroad confirm that number, it will take you maybe 3 days again.
Okay.
So all this time you are paying hotel bill. So after confirm that, they will tell you maybe in 5 days again before they're able to come to your site to inspect your goods. So it's a big challenge for small businesses. And sometimes you see more than 10% in one joint container. So for these people to be in China paying their hotel bill for this moment, and maybe 10 ticket being paid, maybe 1,400, 1,500, it's a lot of money. That container will cost a lot. For you to grow, it will be difficult. Now the problem we have, we want the government to accept this direct inspection.
Yeah, because that's where I was just about to go the way forward.
Yeah, because if the person want to use BVAC, there is possibility to use BVAC, they use BVAC. If they want to do direct inspection, they should allow them to use direct inspection without penalizing them.
Okay, so when we spoke off air, we will expand more on that BVAC stuff. But when we spoke off air initially, before I extended you the invitation to appear on the program, one thing you highlighted was the issue of the revenue or the tariff. Let's say that way. And you just heard in our story that the president now has submitted this bill to the House of Representatives for amendment in this revenue code. But we all again know that recently there were serious cuts in tariff across the country. So has that helped, one, and do we still need more cuts in this tariff?
The tariff cuts are really help a lot, and this cottage, I will tell you, go back to the old tariff.
Okay,
that's the tariff we were using 2011, 2012, 2014, up to 15. That was the tariff we go back to.
Okay, the
reduction they made, they go back to the old tariff. We appreciated it a lot because it helped a lot. We were facing serious problems. You heard that even Patel demonstrated the other time. If they were not going to reduce that one, maybe up to present, demonstration were going to continue because it was too expensive. So now, for the going back to the old tariff is good, but we still need another adjustment, especially something was created, I can say less than a year or 1 year ago, November 2017. There was a new system set up for protecting local industry, according to what they say, which we, the business community, we don't believe that imposing this kind of tariff on the business community is to protect local industry.
You're talking about the surcharge?
The surcharge.
Okay.
So this surcharge is a very expensive one. I believe that if you're trying to penalize somebody, you will penalize the person less than the value. But you cannot penalize the person more than the value. For example, you penalize somebody more than 100%. At least you penalize the person 10%, 20%, and 25%.
Is this how high the surcharge is for?
Yeah, I can give you some examples.
Okay.
Some of the examples I have here, I will give you biscuit. Biscuit is 10% on the revenue code, on the tariff. You pay 10% for the value of the custom duty. But when you come to such article GST, also you pay 10%. We cannot combine the 10% from the tariff and the 10% from the GST. We say 20%. When you combine like that, it will be 20%. But the way they are structured the system is more than 20%. You have that one. Then they say for surcharge to protect the local industry, they say you should pay 40% for kilo. Extra, beside the 10% for custom duty, 10% GST. This 40%, 40 cent per kilo is more than the 20%. If you combine that 20%, you calculate for the goods, and you calculate this 40%, 40 cent for kilo, the 40 cent for kilo will be more than the tariff. It's bad. We say if you are penalizing the person, maybe if the person paying $10,000, $5,000 for the container, you're penalizing the person at least $500 or $1,000 penalty. But you give the person $7,000 or $8,000 penalty.
And this is causing it's having a store now on the prices of these commodities.
Seriously, especially I can tell you, I never have the experience that plastic bag will reach to $10. And you can see some areas people are buying plastic bag, black plastic, for $10. The simple reason because of this surcharge. Plastic bag is 15%, and they add another 15% as surcharge. So at the same time you have the GST also, 10%. So it makes it very expensive. Not only that we have the challenges, we also have challenges of increasing the prices of the commodity by BVAC. That's why when government say
how is BVAC increasing the prices of commodities when we know they should only be the one to inspect?
The reason they was brought on board, they told the government of Liberia they have the experience for overseas prices.
Okay.
For the businessman to come and underprice his goods, they say they will able to tell the government the actual price of that commodity abroad.
Okay.
They say they have offices all over the world, so they understand the market price. So in order to help the government to collect more revenue, they will be there to monitor for the government to collect the tax from the actual price of the goods. But we feel that it's not going the way it's supposed to be. If we're going to have contract with BVAC and we're paying BVAC by container, for example, we agree if the businessman, because now the businessman paying BVAC, they're taking 1.2% for the value of the invoice. But now, if they were going to take 200 or 300 for each container, we're going to be appreciate them.
You prefer it being charged than for it to be
take
charged
by
percentage
because when they increase the price, they collect more money. If they reduce the price, they collect less. So always they will be happy to increase for them to generate more.
Okay.
And while they are generating more, at the same time government generate more. Government very satisfied with them because through them they're getting more money. So now, if your container is $15,000, sometimes BVAC will tell you no, it is $30,000.
But the business people should have something to prove that this is exactly what they are declaring.
That is international level. Every businessman, before you buy goods, they have a system how you can present your invoice. That's the business level internationally. Before you're able to do anything, you will take the pro forma invoice from the company which you buy from. But they will not honor that one. They will design their own thing. At the clean final report, you will see your owner declare value, and you will see the assessment value. The assessment value that the one they say they confirm was the price of the goods. And it's difficult to challenge. When you challenge, they don't even look at you much. So they have the final decision. So if government wants to see the market price come down, I would be surprised. You cannot bring somebody to increase the prices of the commodity. If the businessman say, I'm buying this one $1, then the person can say, no, he lied, he buy $2. For government to collect more tax, and at the same time you want to see the market price come down, it's difficult.
Okay, so we're talking to Suleiman Jallow. Mr. Jallow is the Secretary General of the Fuller Business Association, and we're talking on the issue of tariffs on that we think can move the Liberia economy forward. That's why we have invited him on the program today, and we are going to take a very short break. Then when we come back from the break, we open the lines so we can have your participation. I know you out there, you are a business person as well, and you would like to have your say on this discussion. So we will open the lines, you make your comments, you can have everything coming through right here on Market Day on LNTV. Let's take this very short break and we'll be right back.
Some money as Cocoa Bros, tell me to know that it's the day now. Early morning, 5 o'clock, tell me that long time on their way out. Early morning, mama wakes me up for the market round. And mama, they call me by my name and say, oh, Saji Brano. And mama, they go to Raleigh Tamaki every morning. Yeah. Just to make me at least have some color just for living.
Okay, so welcome back to LNTV. Welcome back to Market Day. Here on the program is where we bring you all of the happenings in the Liberia economy. And on the program today, the top stories we are following: government employees without national identification number, that's the NIN, will stop receiving salary and allowance by January 2019. That's according to the National Identification Registry. President Weah submits to the House of Representatives an act to amend the Revenue Code of Liberia. Commerce Ministry announces arrival of a consignment of purple rice in the country ahead of the festive season. And we are talking to the Secretary General of the Fula Business Association, Suleiman Jallo, who is our guest on the program today. If you want to have your say, you have comments, recommendations, questions, you can put that through on 0777-835-862. That's the number you can call to be a part of the program. Now, you've said you've been engaging the Liberia Revenue Authority. You know, this was the institution giving the mandate to cut tariff on all of these goods or, you know, commodities that we are talking about today. So what has been your engagement with the LRA so far?
Really, we started informing them about this situation we are facing, especially on DI. And
which one is the DI?
DI is direct inspections.
Okay.
Meaning that BVAC did not inspect that schools from abroad. You inspecting these schools at the port of Monrovia. Okay. That's why they call DI. Now they're penalizing us every arrival of new goods. You add 10% to the former 10% you have. For example, as I told you, from 10%, second will be 20%, third will be 30% until it reaches to the last. So now, your business, any of your business, you bring a DI for the first time, you pay 10%. For the second time, you pay 20%. For the third time, you pay 30%. Now, how it's growing? So now, it's business. Your business will be, you reach to a level where you cannot able to pay at all.
Money again.
Because we were crying that goods were 15%, 20%. We say tariff for her. People go on the street. So now, if you penalizing the person 40%, 50% beside the tariff, how that person were able to survive is difficult. We asking the Liberian Revenue Authority to see.
Let's take this call.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah?
This is a mayor presidency calling from Waterside.
Okay, you call from Waterside. Let's hear from you quickly, say.
Thank you very much. I'm one of the petty traders who always go to buy goods from the various stores. But we are finding it difficult in buying the goods. After buying the goods, we bring it outside to sell it as a retailer. It's getting a very difficult time to sell it because these days we are experienced, like your guest said, even the black plastic there, price has been elevated. If I go to buy a black plastic bag, coming outside to sell it, it will give me difficult time to sell.
Okay.
Because many a time people use to the right, go for $5. And then I want to sell it $10. So it will give me difficult time. And then the problem would be on those who are doing the retailer business.
Okay.
Those who are doing the retailer business. Now, when you come to the Freeport of Liberia, you have so many different groups who will access the containers and who will collect taxes and who will give government instructions to collect revenue. These are things that are increasing the revenue generation. If you increase the revenue generation, what happens? You will have untogether effect on the petty trader.
Okay.
You will have untogether effect on the consumer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Effect on the buyers.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
If the bodies are listening to who control our revenue generation and who control the various entrants that are coming with goods, then you'll see how they support these things into place. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. You were in flight and I took this call. Talking about, we cannot take this call. Okay. Your engagement with the LRA.
Yeah, we engaging them on the level of these penalties on the direct inspection, DI. When they continue to do that, it will be serious problem on the local people. What we asking them is to allow the people to import through DI or through BVAC, whatever they intend.
So if you want to do BVAC, you do BVAC. You want to do the direct inspection, you go ahead with that.
You do direct inspection. That gives the government more opportunity than even pre-inspections. It is not the government of Liberia inspecting the goods abroad. It's foreign people. But if you bring the goods to the port of Monrovia, they ask you to open the container, they offload the goods, they check. Why they cannot believe that and accept that without penalizing the people? But they say you should pay penalty and interest. These penalties, they should take it away. I told them it's not because people trying to deviate BVAC. People don't want to use BVAC. They bring in goods through DI. Some areas in China are very difficult for BVAC to reach there. They cannot reach there easily. So you delay in waiting in hotel for them to take their own time and come to you is difficult. And they don't have mandate to say in 2 days or 3 days when you contact BVAC, they should come to your end. If they not come to your end, you must take another decision. No, you should wait for them until the day they're ready.
Okay.
It's embarrassing. Our request is for government to eliminate the penalty on the direct inspections.
Eliminate penalty on direct inspection. That's the plea from business people. Let's take this call. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah? You're live on Market Day.
Yeah, my name is Obed McCarthy and I call you from Painesville.
Let's hear from you, Obed.
Thank you. We understand clearly that the business is facing serious challenges and Suleiman has done well. We are explaining in clear terms that our laymen will understand the challenges they face. But one thing that the business community have to look at is to, not the business community, sorry, but the government is to look at the act that created BVAC. Suleiman just explained that BVAC came for inspection. But because of percentage they will generate so that more money can go in the cover, they are increasing the revenue on people. Because as Suleiman said, when it's low, they will get small money. When it's high, they will get big money. And the first caller just mentioned the different entities in the at the people there. So you pass this high, the bureaucracy is very huge. Hey man, these people are really suffering.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, Obed.
Yeah, they really have to look at it.
Let's hold you there, Obed. Thank you very much for being a part. But there's this other, this ECOWAS common extended tax, right? That's also into effect. How is it affecting, business people as well?
Really, there is no ECOWAS tariff use at this moment.
Okay.
That's the one the president requested for adjustment, and that's the time they forget about ECOWAS and go back to the old tariff.
Okay.
But if they implement CET here, we're not able to do anything much here. We'll see serious crisis here. The simple reason, not only because of the CET is very expensive, but it's the formula again, the system, and the way the government put in place in terms of calculation tariff in the country.
But they are also saying this is intended to make business easier.
For example, this calculation of tariff here, they combine 4 things before they calculate your tariff. How much you pay for the goods? They put that in place. They add amount, how much you pay for transportation of the goods, which is the freight of the container. How much you pay insurance, how much you pay ETL. You combine all this money together, 4 items. You make the total, you say 10% for duty. After doing that, any amount to came there as duty, maybe you will get 4,000 or 5,000 duty. They start again over. You calculate all these items and include the tariff. Then they say 10% GST. So it make the money plenty. Why they should check all, even the money you giving government as a custom duty, as tax you pay to government, they actually you should pay over again 10% over that money as GST, government goods and services tax.
Yeah.
So it's painful. So now that is one of the problems we face in Liberia in terms of using CET. CET increase more of a tariff, and at the same time when you use this formula, it will be plenty. Okay. So it's our problem.
Let's take one more call, then we can take our commodity update, and we call it a day. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, I think this caller is not set and ready. So at this juncture, we will now take our commodity update to bring you all of the prices that we have on a global and local scene. Following that, then we have our parting comment from our guests, and we close this edition of the program. Let's go for our commodity update. Okay, so welcome back to the program, and by this time we can just take maybe 1 or 2 more of your calls while we also turn into our guests. So you know, we've heard what you've said, and we know government is also depending on all of these you know, taxes and tariffs and things to generate, you know, some funds for the smooth running and development of the country. But where do we stand? Where do we meet at the win-win situation where businesses can benefit, government in turn also raise the needed fund to carry out its development purposes? What's running through your mind?
So you see, that is true. Government need to collect more money to develop the country, and at the same time, the citizen also need to get money to develop the country. Both of them. For example, most of these items we're looking at here, building materials and other things, the increase in taxes over there. If people build more houses here, they pay more taxes through the buildings also. So if they say they will collect everything at the port here, people were not able to survive. The economy were not going to grow. The only way economy will boom in this country if they give them opportunity to make profit. And at the same time, development will go on, both from the private sector and the government. So now if they want to collect everything, it will be difficult. So we want them to accept. There is many things happening here. It can happen in our neighboring here. They want to collect tax from everything, even those who are selling on the street. Recently they were talking about for them to pay other tax. In other neighboring country here, you selling on the table, nobody want you to take anything. Government will not take anything from you. Just the local market will ask you to pay small tax, local tax. That's it, daily basis. But beside that, nobody can ask somebody who on table to pay 4%. For example, you passing through the border here, you bring in goods, they say 4% should pay after 3 months sales. Then you calculate the amount you sold, then you pay 4%. But now they will ask you to pay 4% before selling the goods. So all these things we say, they are too haunting the business community. It will be difficult for them to grow. Your small fish today is your big fish tomorrow. If they don't give them opportunity to grow, they will not get big companies to collect tax. It will always be foreign companies. And I will tell you again, the challenges we have here, the same importer can be the retailer.
Okay.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
So now you got small money, you got to think about going China. You don't access the market here. So you want to go China again, your money is small, you're paying hotel bill, you're paying transportation. You come back, at the end of the game, they will say these people are not fair in business, they can pay loan and other things. All that challenges people are facing here.
Okay. Okay, so he's Suleiman Jallow, the Secretary General of the Fuller Business Association, and we've been talking about some of the challenges faced by businesses in the country, and hopefully this bill sent by the President to the House of Representatives will have some, attention, will draw some attention to some of these issues and address them through the amendment of the Revenue Code. That's how we come to the end of this edition of the program. But before we leave, these are the stories we follow on the program today. Government employees without national identification number, that's the NIN, to stop receiving salary allowance by January 2019. President Weah submits to the House of Representatives an act to amend the Revenue Code of Liberia. Commerce Ministry announces arrival of a consignment of purple rice in the country ahead of the festive season. And we also been talking to the Secretary General of the Fuller Business Association, Suleiman Jallow, who been our guest this afternoon on the program Market Day. From my end, I'm Chap Davis, and on behalf of the entire production team and the management of the Liberia Broadcasting System, let me bid you a pleasant good afternoon from Pinsville in Monrovia. Bye-bye for now.
Some money as Cocoa Bros, tell me they know that it's the day now. Early morning, 5 o'clock, tell me that long term on their way. Early morning, mama wakes me up for the market round. And my man, they call me by my name and say, oh, Saji Brano. And my man, they go to Raleigh Market every morning. Yeah. Just to make me